What's up, my ponios? Andy with Tech Influence here, finally able to go over my verdict here of the 15 Pro Max versus the 16 Pro Max. Is it worth it to switch from the 15 to the 16? And to not bury the lead, I'm gonna say no. Apple Intelligence was all over this year. Everything was derived around Apple Intelligence, to the hardware in being able to deal with Apple Intelligence, all of the features and software all revolving around Apple Intelligence. In the 2 months that I've used this, I've literally not seen anything, used anything, or heard of anything on the 16 Pro Max that's related to Apple Intelligence. So for that fact alone, is a good argument here to not upgrade, because you're paying for a phone that's comparably the same as last year's model. The focus of this video here is gonna be the features on the outside of it, the build, and then my biggest focus is the camera. That's the main reason why I use an iPhone, is the superior optics. And to not bury that lead, unfortunately, I'm not noticing a big difference between the two. While the lenses are incrementally better, the f-stops, sensor shift, and computational photography is supposed to be better, I don't see it. Before we jump into the demonstration, comparison, and all that stuff, I do have to let you know that this video is sponsored from my channel sponsor, Andar. I'm talking about the cases that I have equipped on both of these phones. They're our channel sponsor, and check out the very end of the video for a little bit more on them later on. With that said, we're gonna go over top view of how different these look, feel, shape, as well as a more comprehensive look at all of the cameras from a videography perspective. I didn't take any pictures necessarily, so we're not gonna be going over that here today. Let's go ahead and demonstrate it, show you what you're looking at, and see if this is worth it. All right, we got both of them in the hand. As you can see, the iPhone 16 is a little bit bigger. It's taller and a little bit wider. It's 6.9-inch screen as opposed to the 6.7. You do have a couple of differences in the screen real estate. You do have peak brightness that is better, meaning that you can have it real dim and it gets much brighter than last year. You do have smaller bezels, which is always welcome, but that doesn't impact your ability to have screen protectors and whatnot. As far as other hardware, you do have this camera control, which I don't use. None of my videos that are shot use this at all. It is a little bit gimmicky here, and especially if you have a case, it does impact your ability to use it. So unfortunately, most cases out there just have this large notch that chops it off. Battery is pretty comparable, although they do say that it has like over 30 hours of video playback. You do have on the ultra wide a distinct difference with a 48 megapixel camera, which is gonna be nice for those 0.5x videos that kind of look goofy. Everything else is pretty much the same, except for the 4K 120 slow-mo that you can take on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Like I said, with the Apple Intelligence, that's gonna be available basically to both phones, although the A18 Pro chip is supposed to be more compatible, whatever that means. And then lastly, one of my other favorite features here is the wireless charging. I love wireless charging, although you have to buy a new puck, which is unfortunate. You don't notice anything different from the animations of the charging, so you can't even tell if it's 25 or not. They should have had an indicator on that. And then you have to buy a new puck. No other pucks are gonna be able to, at least for my testing. It seems like they're gatekeeping on their own puck. They visibly look the same, no difference in chassis. It's still titanium. Buttons are there, action button's nice. They moved this band here to make up for the camera control, but everything else looks the same. I didn't notice much difference in the battery. It seems like the extra computation and the extra screen, as well as the brightness, basically makes these phones very similar. Now, I'm an accessory fiend. I love using rigs and shooting, so that's what I'm gonna be shooting on. You can see that I've got a quick grip plus a Bluetooth shutter. That's gonna be what I'm gonna primarily shoot these on. This is a newer rig that's got cold shoe mounts. I do love me some lenses, and so while this is not gonna be a video on the lenses, you have really cool lenses like this 85 that you can just screw on to their threading and get really good bokeh and a really cool portrait shot here. I'll have links for down below. I will be shooting in ProRes log, so having a portable terabyte hard drive that does over 200 megabits a second is nice. This is a MagSafe one that just fits on either of them and can push into the USB Type-C. It's my go-to, I really like that. AirPods Pro Gen 2 is what I use for audio. For some of my other talking head, I use I've been using the ShiftCam tripod, which is really nice. It's got also a shutter button, and the ShiftCam SnapGrip Pro. This is my go-to for charging as well as making content. It can snap on here via MagSafe, which is nice, or it fits on any of your other cases, which should be fine and looks great. You know, in a pinch, a 5,000 milliamp battery from the folks at Anchor as my go-to for charging. Okay, hand holding the iPhones together. Both of them are much more stable. I just did the Pro on another video, and these are way more stable than the Pro. I like the dynamic range in general of both phones. You can see there's nice shallow depth of field when you get close. It does toggle on that macro mode automatically for both of them, which is nice. This is good to be able to just make vlogs in general. It seemed a little contrasty on the iPhone 16, but they're both able to video the subjects really well. Dynamic range here, shining in the sky where the sun is. You can still see the tree there in pretty good clarity. There is some sharp shadows, but having direct light shine at you, dynamic range is pretty good. I'm impressed. Lots of harshness here this morning. Let's move into the shade while we're walking to show you how stable it is. Both of them do have an active mode, although the active mode has been improved from last year. Active mode helps with stabilization. Although it's not at 4K, it's still at 2.8 or 2.7 on both of them at 30 frames a second. We're gonna go ahead and run back to where we were at to show you how stable it is when you're running. This is on the ultra wide lens. Switching off of the active, ultra wide lens in general is a little bit better. It's a little bit more stable on the 16 Pro Max, and it does have a better aperture. So you're able to get better dynamic range. Low light is much clearer on the 16 Pro Max than the 15. There's a dead tree I need to get rid of. Looks pretty good. Okay, one of my favorite ways to shoot is on the wide at 2x. It just looks super clean. It's good for vlogs. It's very stable. You're still maintaining the best of the iPhone 15 and 16 Pro Max, but you're zoomed and punched in. It looks natural. It's not super digital, and it just looks nice. Punching into each 5x tele, I really can't tell the difference. Showing the leaves in the background, does a pretty good job. Both of them can zoom up to 15x. It's a little bit grainy though. They're both pretty stable. This is the wide lens at 1x. I really love the focal length on this. It just looks really clean. This is not cinematic mode. This is at that same focal length. It's struggling to focus on that because it's a round object. Doesn't do a really good job. That's why I don't use cinematic mode. On cinematic mode, I have it at an f-stop of 2, which is fun. I like that. Being able to have that control is nice, but it's not, I mean, stretched out arm's length on the iPhone 16, iPhone 15 isn't much of a difference. You just get this really unnatural blurring. It doesn't feel like the true focal length because this area is just as blurry as this area, while the distance on both of them are different. This is about 3 feet away, that's about 10 feet away, but it still looks the same blurry. So that's why I don't ever use it. I just use the regular selfie mode. This is what it looks like without cinematic mode. You can tell the difference. There isn't as much blur in the background. Back there is a little bit, but these cameras are pretty generic on the front facing. Nothing to really write home about. Here's some low light. Both of them have good dynamic range, still being able to see the darks, the shadows, while the background is a lot more well lit because of the morning sun. But in general, it does pretty good. All right, 4K 120, here's what it looks like. It's on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Momo, as I say it. Here's 1080p, 120 frames a second, up-res to 4K. This is what slow-mo looks like. Whoa. Andar in Spanish means to carry, and this is my everyday carry here for my iPhone 14, my iPhone 15. Andar features a wide variety of high-end luxury leather goods, including bags, handbags, wallets, cases, watch straps for your Apple Watch, and wallets to boot. I love my Aspen, which comes in a myriad of different colors. If you want to opt into the brown for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, Or if you wanted to opt into the clamshell case for your MacBook Pro, I have the moss color and I love how that full grain leather just looks on the back of my computer. I also have the watch strap, which is a great way to be able to add to your Apple Watch and have luxury on the go. And our sources the leather ethically, and they have excellent customer service in the event you have a question, a concern, or a need. Check out down below in the description for a 15% off code using Tech Influence for a coupon here on your first order. Check out those links as well, as they do help out the channel. Don't forget to use my link down below, andar.com/techinfluence1 to get 15% off your first order of any Andar leather goods. This video is sponsored. It's my go-to here for all of my cases. With that said, ultimately, I don't think it's worth it. I always like having the nice new shiny thing. You're not getting it because of that desert titanium. You're not necessarily upgrading because of a superior optics of the lenses. You're not even doing it here for the Apple Intelligence. It's not out. They haven't rolled anything out yet. But with that said, if you have the 15 Pro Max, I would hold off and save yourself time, anguish, and money. Thanks so much for watching. Andy with Tech Influence. Appreciate it. Let me know where I went wrong in the comments down below. Hit that like button. We'll catch you in the next one.